This is a silent newsreel from the late 30s. The one we put through first is a New Zealand film about road safety, and this is a CinemaScope film about the Swedish Air Force. When you run films through, eventually you'll get a build-up of dust and emulsion on the gate. So I use isopropyl alcohol and a cotton bud occasionally just to wipe it. Not after every film, but after every film I'll use the brush and just blow it out. Just on a spoon. So with a manual load, start at the front, and these wheels have all got sprocket teeth on them, so you just thread it through. You need to have a loop here where it comes out of the first sprocket and goes down into the gate. It doesn't need to be in line with the arrow. I like to have it a little bit looser.
Okay.
And then there's teeth in intermittent gear near the light, so you can find the two teeth. There'll either be 2 or 3 teeth. This one has 2, and if they're not sticking out in the film, it's just sliding up and down.
The little black strip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This wheel here will move the move those teeth in and out. So that shouldn't move now in there. It's being gripped by those 2 teeth. You need to have another loop here, and then you've got this slightly more complicated set of wheels that go through the sound head. But there's only one way it can go through.
Yeah, my one, like initially when you hit go, it moves once.
Okay.
It doesn't move frequently.
Yeah.
It just goes for it a little bit.
So that's a tension adjuster basically. And if you've got the film too tight, it'll spin around and skip a sprocket, so it gives you a bit more, because this should come down quite freely. You don't want it too loose, because if it's too loose it'll rub on the bottom here. It'll actually rub on this, and then potentially scratch the film. So you don't need to
with that little, there's a little gap in the middle there, isn't there?
There's a little gap. There's probably a couple. It depends on what sort of reel you've got. There'll be 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be too tight, because once you start, it winds on.
Okay.
And I usually just try.
What happens if it doesn't wind on?
It'll just come out and start spawning out onto the floor. Some films that have been projected a lot of times have broken sprocket holes.
Yeah.
So they'll skip and jump, and you'll see the image jumping on the screen, and then that's when you've really got to keep an eye on the projector to make sure that the film actually makes it through, because 1 or 2 broken sprocket holes is okay. It should actually still go through the mechanism alright.
Sprocket holes as in on the film itself,
yeah, on the film
they've
itself.
ripped?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's repairable, but on old films you'll get random spots, and you'll get random spots where the film's broken and it's been spliced. Sometimes the splices aren't very good quality. Sometimes if it's a film that hasn't been projected for a long time and it's a cement splice or even a tape splice and the glue's dried out, then the film will just break again as it goes through the projector.
Okay.
This shit doesn't happen very often, but you sort of need to be aware of it because it can happen.
I mean, can you stop it?
Yeah, I can stop it any time.
Okay, cool.
Should I crank it up?
Yeah.
With the slates of speed, here on the racetrack, under control conditions. There are no intersections.
So that's without the CinemaScope.
Yeah.
The lens.
Yeah, that's without the lens. I think the lens on this film. Let's have a look. That's the image that you get with the scope.
Whoa!
It's a massive difference.
This time, she's concentrating, and she's alert to any potential hazard. The children are quiet and safe. Both cars are travelling at a moderate speed. Both drivers are driving sensibly. Not overcautious, but safely, without any fuss.
What did you do to...
One doesn't have to be overzealous or old-fashioned to drive safely.
The colours fade, like the green and the blue fade.
But
And
not time,
the
it
red's the
seems,
most stable
to risk missing
dye
lights.
in the film. So quite often with an old film all you've got left is red.
It's easy to make mistakes. Be ready to stop if necessary. Watch for signs. They're there for a particular purpose. It's a very good chance of being killed or killing someone else. Notice the extent of his vision to the right. The intersection is an average one.
There's a lever here that you need to flick up.
Got it.
And so that's just something you need to know about. And then you don't rewind it by going backwards, which you might think is the intuitive way to do it.
Yeah, I thought that was the intuitive way to do it.
Yeah. You go forward, the same as if you're turning it on to project.
Okay.
But moving that lever just reverses some sort of.
Ah.
And that's it. That's done. That's your film rewound, ready to go back in the can for next time.
Cool. And could you explain the vinegar effect again?
So you just need to smell a film, and if it smells like vinegar, it means that the celluloid acetate's starting to break down. And some people say that you should isolate films that have vinegar syndrome from others. It does tend to, once it's started, it's irreversible and tends to get worse.
Okay.
Eventually the film will warp and become unprojectable. So when you're projecting, this belt's not engaged. The projector's drawing the film through, and this should be spinning and it's being taken up. And when you're rewinding, it'll engage that gear, and you need a new belt here as well, but you're getting a belt set. Generally the autoloaders have it because they need a nice clean end to thread properly.
Yeah.
Stick it in there, you say. Look at that. That's great. And you'll notice that it's got double sprocket holes.
Okay.
And that's another sign of old films. So this could have been 8mm film, and it would have looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And you would have just exposed half of the film, and then it would have been spliced
Okay.
when it was being processed. So these projectors and most modern projectors just have the intermittent tooth, the claw.
Yeah.
It only grabs one side,
Ah, okay.
so you don't need. You see there, it says safety, Kodak safety positive.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
tiny.
just
Yeah.
you've got to be aware with old films to make sure that it is safety film and not nitrate.
Okay.
And if you come across a nitrate film, that it's actually quite dangerous. And those nitrate films are old, very old now, and possibly more unstable than they were even when they were new.
Okay. And they will explode?
They will burn extremely vigorously. Now this is a CinemaScope film, so we need to put in our bodged up scope lens.
But it fits in the ring fine.
Fits in the ring. It's a bit loose. I've just put a bit of tape over it, and it holds in there and works fine. We just need to turn it around to make sure we've got it facing the right way. It probably says top. Yeah, it does. All right.
Cool.
Good to go. Now this film's in really bad condition, so the image is going to jump when broken sprocket holes go through the system. It's got a lot of scratches and marks and dirt. But
Whoa. So you got to rotate it the right way.
A cracked new jet is Royal Swedish Air Force. A final test in the wind tunnel, and a toy model becomes the real thing. An attack plane of startling supersonic speed. Red Caesar, Yellow David, and so on. With this flashing speed, there is no target within Swedish territory which cannot be reached directly and instantly by the attack force, irrespective of where they scramble and take off. Seconds after... At this altitude, the sun's rays on the plexiglass resembles a giant bubble in the sky. Inhabitants of the earth are fascinated as vapor trails in the thin cold air wrap a great white ribbon around Sweden. As speed changes the season, leaving southern cities in warm weather. The squadron streaks on over timber country and green fields. Zooming north over hydroelectric plants and busy ore mines, the jets have a shrinking effect on time and distance and bring the national borders ever closer. Suddenly it's dead winter in the frozen fields of Lapland, but the white spray may appear only as more snow in the air. It's in the far north, but still part of Sweden.
Crossing from the right, 11 knots.